Hi, third graders. Happy Monday morning. Today is actually National Visit Your Relatives Day, and I know that a lot of us can't actually do that right now, but I gave you some activities that you can do to make your relatives feel special and acknowledged today. So let's go ahead and look at our daily assignments that we can look through that. And just thinking about this makes me realize how much I miss all of you too, right? Because you're like my little family in class. So it says sending love your way. So again, like I said, it's National Visit Your Relatives Day. And I just think it's important to remember that you can have phone calls, you can have Zoom sessions. And if you really want, you can write your family members a letter. Getting cards and things like that in the mail is, I think personally, more special than anything else. And it's something that they're going to keep forever. So I'm gonna call my uncle. I haven't talked to him in a little bit, and you know, things are just so busy all the time that you forget. And so I'm gonna take today to call my uncle and see how he's doing during this. Okay. So please attend office hours this morning. We're going to be rehearsing our readers theater. If you can print it out, that would be great. It would be a lot easier for you to print it out and read it from an actual hard copy than it would from the computer. Okay. We're also going to have a really special guest at tomorrow's office hours. So get thinking about who that might be. Okay. So your grammar today is the personal dictionary, and I've kind of talked about that a little bit because it's been under your optional challenge activities, but today you're actually going to do it, 2 slides from it. And so in this video right here, I gave you all the instructions that you need for what I want in your personal dictionary. So you're gonna read, you can either do this for your independent reading book or sideways stories. You're gonna pick at least 2 unknown vocabulary words, and then you're gonna go through and tell me the definition, write it in the complete sentence, choose a synonym, and then insert an image. And again, I'm not gonna go too much in detail because all the details are right here in this video, okay? For reading, you're reading chapters 10 and 11 in sideways stories and completing slides 14 and 15. Remember, this week I'm not going to tell you what day that I'm going to be taking out to grade. So there's going to be 1 graded sideways stories from your slides on this week for this week. And you'll find out on Thursday which one that is. Okay. You'll also be starting your book club this week. So on Wednesday, we'll be doing the book clubs like we talked about during office hours. So we'll get into the book clubs more tomorrow. Today is writing, really interesting one. I actually really enjoy doing this in class. I'm bummed that we're not together, but we'll make the most out of it. Your new opinion topic is, do you think animals should be kept in zoos? So today, as usual, we're going to brainstorm. But for your brainstorming today, I want you to do a pros and cons list. So you're going to do 1 set of positives about why you think why we should have zoos, and then 1 column of negatives about why we should not have zoos. No matter what your opinion is, I want positives and negatives. Okay, so if we look at the brainstorming example that I have, you will see when it comes up that I have my list of, coming slowly but surely, positives and negatives. I ended up choosing the positives. You can read why, but I want both. And there's a reason. We'll be talking about this reason later. Okay, but that's how I want you to brainstorm today. There's also 2 videos that I put here for you that you might want to watch before you begin, because some of your things, your reason should be based off of facts on this. One, it's a brand new unit, unit 11, lesson 1. It's on telling time. So this is a required video that I want you to watch today that I made for you, because we're starting something new and you haven't done this since last year in 2nd grade. Then today in science, some of you did this the other week, but if you want to do it again, go for it. But you are going to be creating the bridge from what makes bridges so strong. So you're going to go to the hands-on section, follow the instructions. It tells you all the materials you need, what you're going to be doing, and you're going to make your bridge. You're going to take notes on your bridge designer worksheet about what happened, but you're going to be doing this 3 times total. So after you make your original bridge, you're going to iterate twice. Okay, so it'll be 3 times total, and see if there's a difference that was made. And then social studies, I want you practicing for readers theater. And then that is it besides PE and art. So now I'm going to get to reading the BFG. And we left off in the middle of the chapter, and it was when the BFG told her the dream about how she saved the teacher from drowning. So she ends by saying, I like that dream. He says, of course you like it, the BFG says. It is the fizz wizard. He licked the back of the label and stuck it on the jar. I was usually writing a bit more than this on the labels, he said, but you was watching me and making me jumpsy. I'll go and sit somewhere else, Sophie said. Don't go, he said. Look in the jar carefully, and I think you will be seeing this dream. Sophie peered into the jar, and there, sure enough, she saw a faint translucent outline of something about the size of a hen's egg. There was just a touch of color in it, a pale sea green, soft and shimmering and very beautiful. There it lay, the small, oblong, sea green jellyfish thing at the bottom of the jar, quite peaceful, but pulsing gently, the whole of it moving in and out ever so slightly as though it were breathing. It's moving, Sophie cried. It's alive. Of course it's alive. What will it feed on? Sophie asked. It's not feeding on any food, the BFG told her. That's cruel, Sophie said. Everything alive needs food of some sort, even trees and plants. The north wind is alive, the BFG said. It is moving. It touches you on the cheek and on the hands, but nobody is feeding it. Sophie was silent. The extraordinary giant was disturbing her ideas. He seemed to be leading her towards mysteries that were beyond her understanding. A dream is not needing anything, the BFG went on. If it is a good one, it is waiting peaceably forever until it is released and allowed to do its job. If it is a bad one, it is always fighting to get out. The BFG stood up and walked over to one of the many shelves and placed the latest jar among the thousands of others. Please, can I see some of the other dreams? Sophie asked him. The BFG hesitated. Nobody has ever seen them before, he said. But perhaps, after all, I is letting you have a little peep. He licked her up off the table and stood her on the palm of one of his huge hands. He carried her towards the shelves. Over here are some of the good dreams, Sophie said, the fizz wizards. Would you hold me closer so I can read the labels? Sophie said. My labels is only telling bits of it, the BFG said. The dreams is usually much longer. The labels is just to remind me. Sophie started to read the labels. The first one seemed long enough to her. It went right round the jar, and as she read it, she had to keep turning the jar. This is what it said. Today I was sitting in class, and I discovered that if I was staring very hard at my teacher in a special way, I was able to put her to sleep. So I keep staring at her, and in the end, her head drops onto her desk, and she goes fast to sleep and snorkles loudly. Then, in marches the head teacher, and he shouts, "Wake up, Miss Plumridge! How dare you go to sleep in class? Go fetch your hat and coat and leave this school forever. You is sacked." But in a jiffy, I was putting the head teacher to sleep as well, and he just crumplessly slows to the floor like a lump of jelly, and there he lies in a heap and starts snorkeling even louder than Miss Plumridge. And then I hear my mommy's voice saying, "Wake up, your breakfast is ready." What a funny dream, Sophie said. It's a ring beller, the BFG said. It's Wopsy. Inside the jar, just below the edge of the label, Sophie could see the putting to sleep dream lying peacefully on the bottom, pulsing gently, sea green like the other one, but perhaps a trifle larger. Do you have separate dreams for boys and girls? Sophie asked. Of course, the BFG said. If I was giving girl's dream to a boy, even if it was a really wopsy girl's dream, the boy would be waking up and thinking what a ron-funkel, gring-sludging old dream that was. Boys would, Sophie said. These here is all girls' dreams on this shelf, the BFG said. Can I read a boy's dream? You can, the BFG said, and he lifted her to a higher shelf. The label on the nearest boy's dream jar read as follows. I was making myself a marvelous pair of suction boots, so when I put them on, I was able to walk straight up the kitchen wall and cross the ceiling. Well, I is walking upside down on the ceiling when my big sister comes in, and she is starting to yell at me, as she always does, yelling, "What on earth are you doing up there walking on the ceiling?" And I looks down at her, and I smiles, and I says, "Told you was driving me up a wall, and now you have done it." I find that one rather silly, Sophie said. Boys wouldn't, the BFG said, grinning. It's another ring beller. Perhaps you have seen enough now. Let me read another boy's one, Sophie said. The next label said, the telephone rings in our house, and my father picks it up and says in his very important telephone voice, Simpkins speaking. Then his face goes white and his voice goes all funny, and he says, what? Who? And then he says, yes, sir, I understand, sir, but surely it is me you is wishing to speak to, sir, not my little son. My father's face is going from white to dark purple, and he is gulping like he's a lobster stuck in his throat. And then at last he's saying, yes, sir, very well, sir, I'll get him, sir. And then he turns to me and he says, in a rather respectful voice, is he knowing the President of the United States? And I says, no, but I expect he is hearing about me. Then I was having a long talk on the phone and saying things like, let me take care of it, Mr. President. You'll bungle all up if you try and do it your way. And my father's eyes is goggling right out of his head. And that is when I was hearing my father's real voice saying, get up, you lazy slobber, you'll be late for school. Boys are crazy, Sophie said. Let me read this next one. I is having a bath, and I is discovering that if I press quite hard on my tummy button, a funny feeling comes over me, and suddenly my legs is not there, nor is my arms. In fact, I has become absolutely invisible all over. I is still there, but no one can see me, not even myself. So my mommy comes in and says, where is that child? He was in the bath a minute ago, and he can't possibly have washed himself properly. So I says, here I is. And she says, where? And I say, here. And she yells, Henry, come up quick. And when my daddy rushes in, I was washing myself, and my daddy sees the soap floating around in the air, but of course he's not seeing me, and he shouts, where are you, boy? And I says, here. And he says, where? And I says, here. And he says, where? And I says, here. And he says, the soap, boy, the soap, it's flying in the air. Then I press my tummy button again, and now I was visible. My daddy is squiffy with excitement, and he says, you was the invisible boy. And I say, now I was gonna have some fun. So when I was out of the bath and I dried myself, I put on my dressing gown and slippers, and I press my tummy button again to become invisible. And I go down into the town and walk in the streets. Of course, only me is invisible, but not the things I was wearing. So when people are seeing a dressing gown and slippers floating along the street with nobody in it, there's panic with everybody yelling, a ghost, a ghost! And people screaming left and right, and big, strong policeman is running for their lives. And best of all, I see my grumpet algebra teacher coming out of a pub, and I float up to him and say, boo! And he lets out a frightsome howl and dashes back into the pub. And then I was waking up and feeling happy as a whip slipper. Pretty ridiculous, Sophie said. All the same, she couldn't resist reaching down and pressing her own tummy button to see if it worked. Nothing happened. Dreams is very mystical things, the BFG said. Human beings is not understanding them. Not even the brainiest professors is understanding them. Has you seen enough? Just this last one, Sophie said. This one here. I think actually we're going to stop here because this chapter is rather long. So we'll have to see tomorrow what this last dream was. But here's a picture of what's going on. So it looks like people are reading everywhere. And it's a boy dream. So we'll have to see what that's all about. All right. Have a good day. I'll see you at office hours at 10, ready to go to practice our first rehearsal of Burlingame History Readers Theater. Bye, everyone. Have a great morning.